All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Fredrik. I am 1/3 of a podcast about tech and coding, so they thought we would somehow fit in here. I work as a coder, and in my spare time I sit back and try to let smarter people talk, and that's what I'll do here. So I let my other panelists introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Bob. I'm from Football Addicts, creators of Forza Football. And I used to be a coder. I wanted to be a coder all my life. I don't do coding anymore, so make of it what you want.
Hi, I'm Johannes. I work at a startup called Monocl in the city. We do data analytics for life science companies and stuff like that. I am a coder still, and I try to my best efforts to lead that product development. Otherwise I engage in activities like arranging starter pack and stuff like that. So that's me.
Hi, Magnus from Cyberdada. It's my own little company, and I am a coder.
So, startups, I've heard about them. What's your first association with the word? What do you think of?
Funny story, I have no idea what a startup is. I thought I knew what it was, and then I looked it up, and they said it was something else than what I thought. So I'm like super confused now.
So what did you think at first?
So at first it was like, okay, a small company trying to do something. That was like very broad definition.
Sounds reasonable.
yeah.
So far?
Yeah, but I've always associated a startup with someone who's not making their own money. They're spending someone else's money to kind of, create something and disrupt this and that, whatever.
A parasite.
Yeah, pretty much. But then I started thinking like, but what if you're a company of 3 people and you have a product and you are making money? Like, are you a startup then? Like, is it the size that is? So I'm super confused. So we're going to find out tonight what it is. Hopefully.
We try our best.
I still have no idea. 3 years. Are we still a startup? I don't know. I don't really know. We're not making like black figures yet. But
you're a startup.
Oh yeah. But I hear people sort of profiling themselves as startups 10 years past their start date. So I don't know. Is it time related? You think?
Well, I think it's the opposite of shut down, I guess.
Well, yeah. That's true.
But one would like it to be like a rock band, I guess. But I think the reality is not always that.
Yeah.
And so I looked up startup on Wikipedia because I wanted to sound smart when I come here.
The source of all truth.
Yeah. And it said something like, so startup is defined by some people as kind of starting a business which should grow a lot and, become scalable. So the journey to that would be a startup. But I don't know, like in these last couple of years, I think startup has become more, let's disrupt shit. So let's create a company that disrupts all kinds of shit. So I love swearing, by the way. Hope you don't mind.
I hope you do too.
yeah.
Because we have the microphones.
Yeah. And then I kind of get pissed off. Like, does everyone have to disrupt shit, to kind of be a cool startup? Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think so. I think there are a lot of things you could do with a small company to grow and be scalable and, solve some real life problems and make people's lives better or whatever.
Yeah.
So that for me, it's kind of startup. That's where I'm right now. So we'll see if that changes as well.
But I think you're right. If everyone's disrupting everyone all the time, then somewhere along the line, there isn't going to be any startups anymore unless... I don't know. It just feels like you can't just continuously disrupt everything.
That sounds kind of like anarchy, but that's a nice thing, I think.
Yeah. But it is a bit like anarchy, I think. Sometimes, at least. You do a lot of stuff. You don't listen to anybody when they're telling you you're wrong. Well, maybe sometimes, but often not, I think. And you think you're right, and you're going to go down this path, and you don't stop until you realize that, well, everyone was right. This was a bad idea.
This was a bad idea. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
And quickly.
Yeah, pivot. Come on, pivot.
So does focus have anything to do with it? Because one of the things that comes up in my mind is this working and focusing really hard, really narrowly on one single goal.
Until you pivot 2 weeks
Oh yeah,
later.
yes. Until it's a different goal. It's,
Yeah.
you know, the firm beliefs loosely held.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a part of it, but I wouldn't say it's exclusive to being a startup. I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, you need focus, whatever you're making, because
sure. But if you're a company doing, maybe.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time it's because, like you said, maybe it's 3 people and you can't have that broad of a focus with 3 people.
No.
Well, you can, but then you're not going to get anything done. So.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the privilege with a startup, I guess. You have like this narrow path you're going to, and it's not all the boring shit that usual companies are like, paying the bills, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and you're just like, oh, we have to get this thing done.
Yeah, or we're dead. but I mean, to try and sort of maybe approach narrowing down the startup definition, if it's a small company doing 3 different products, let's say, does it spontaneously feel like a startup to you by that?
It might be. I mean, I worked at some bigger companies because my journey has been pretty fun. Like I started in the enterprise, like thousands of employees, and then started kind of working my way down. So I don't know where that will end up. But you know, even the big companies, like, okay, so we're going to create a team that's going to be focused on one product, and it's going to function like a startup. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds so fucking awesome. So what do we do? It's like, what is a startup? How do we do that thing in this big company?
That's the thing. No one knows how you do it.
Yeah.
But that's a bit like I think about startups, because to me at least, I mean, like all those definitions, like, you should disrupt shit and get things done and do something remarkable or whatever. But to me, it's just as much about like the culture in a company. That's why I think a lot of companies 10, 12 years old still feel like startups, because they have sort of fostered that type of culture in the company. And if you, like you say, if you take like a team and start a project in a big corporation, like with thousands of employees, and you don't have that culture from the get-go, it's really hard to force that on a little team. Like maybe if you isolate them away from the company somewhere and let them do whatever they want, but I mean that's not going to happen in that sense. So I think, to me at least, it's really, really a lot about culture. It's like, I can put in infinite hours for minimum wage and it's going to be awesome all the way.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, is that the startup culture of like you working your ass off day and night to like get something, to ship something? Or is the startup culture more like, okay, so you, even if you're this little team in this big company, it's like you get to try to find the scale or whatever, like the growth of this product. And if you guys do it like 8 hours a day and succeed, fucking awesome. But if you need to work like day and night, it's like you're still a startup. You know?
But it's like I feel, because as I said to my colleague the other day, that I sort of like working all those hours, because I like to really immerse myself in something. And it's hard to do that in like a regular 9-to-5 or 8-to-5 job, as in Sweden. But I really need that ability to put in the time and have people around me that sort of thinks the same way, that are that dedicated to the product, because it's your shit you're gonna put it together and get out there. So you want to sort of really, really, you love working on it. It's not a job, really.
It's a passion for the
it's a passion, and it's a hobby more than a job, I think. Just building something and creating something new, and I think that feeling is really what startups about.
Sort of passion and sense of ownership then.
Yeah.
And this kind of brings me into the part I really hate about the startup culture, why it has become that way, I don't know. Like there's even an event here, sorry for pooping on the, like, how do you build your company for exit? Like, is that the whole point? Are you going to, do a startup just so you can sell it? Don't you want to create a product that you're super passionate about? Work long hours that don't even feel like long hours because you love this so much. That is the startup culture in my mind, not the like, hey, we're going to create a unicorn, we're going to disrupt this and that. Like, you don't have to always disrupt everything.
No, I don't think so. It's more about like your passions for the work, I think. At least to me.
But the thing that is feels good is like building up something, and but up to a certain point, and it doesn't feel that much fun anymore. And I guess that's when it's not a startup anymore.
Yeah, that's where you sell it to someone else. You find another passion.
Yeah, once things start getting routes and procedures, I guess, and layers of management.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. It feels like you've passed the startup stage by then. I would
Absolutely.
think.
When you have to sort of put in a feature request at your own product, then it's not a startup anymore, I think.
Once the TPS reports come into the picture, that's when you exit the startup.
Can you come in Saturday? That would be great.
Definitely.
But if you're already there on Saturday by your own accord, that's a different thing.
Precisely.
Yeah. So in my mind, the part of the startup culture, which is like, oh, we're gonna create a unicorn, we're gonna disrupt this and that. Like, I think it's so counterproductive, and it's a waste of people's smarts. Actually, I mean, you don't always have to do that thing. I mean, some of the businesses will probably disrupt themselves.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then you come in with a better product, like Spotify did, or Spotify didn't disrupt music industry. The music industry did a goddamn good job themselves to do it, because they didn't create product that people wanted. That's when Spotify came in.
Yeah.
So are they a startup? Like, are they disrupting something? I don't know. I see them more as a solving a good problem for people.
Yeah.
They want to move into a new era of music consumption. And I mean, like, for us at Football Addicts as well, like, we create an app. There were already a bunch of apps that did this, and we took what was there and made it better because we wanted a better product. And we don't have to disrupt football. FIFA does that by themselves. So yeah, we can still have a cool company and have this startup culture and a cool office and everything.
So do you think of Football Addicts as a startup right now? I mean, if you were somewhere just to say startup, would you think of Football Addicts?
Yeah, I would most often say no, we're not a startup.
Yeah.
Sorry. And why is that? Is probably because, okay, we're a small company. We've been around for a while. We make our own money, have done so for a while. We have a kind of established product, and it's been around for a while. So I don't know if there are any like boxes that you tick for startups. I don't see us in there.
No.
And like I said, I wouldn't know what the proper startup is that would tick these boxes.
no, me neither. But but I definitely feel the same when I think about the place I work at Time Edit. It has in many ways a lot of startup mentality going around, but it doesn't check the boxes in my mind. I don't think of Time Edit when I think startup.
Exactly, and that's what I feel is wrong. Like I want those boxes like that you check that you're a startup to be. You have a product that's solving some problem or making people's lives better. You are passionate about the product. You're not there to sell the company or exit or whatever, make a unicorn or like make a bunch of money. So those are the startup boxes that I want to have. People should feel like, and that's what you take off instead of, oh, we burned through 80 million of someone's money. Like, check, we're a startup.
Burn money. I can do that.
I could do that as well.
I can do that part of the startup.
But isn't that also like two definitions of startups? You have those that more this kind of definition where it's sort of a passion. It's something you want to do. It's something you maybe thought about or a lot, and you started it and started to, I could not make any money and work on this. That's fine. And then there's sort of the more strategic startup. That's a lot of the unicorns, like when you almost just sort of hype the company up to bump up the stock price and make an exit. And you're not really focused. You're not selling the product. You're selling the stock, to quote some series, I guess. But I actually think it's probably true for a lot of those sort of really fast unicorns, that you really feel, how the hell did this evaluation become a reality? Because it sort of doesn't make sense at all, because they aren't really disrupting anything if you really nitpick and pull apart what they are doing.
They aren't probably even solving any problems or making people's lives better.
Exactly. They just are
wasting money from some other guy. He's going to be pissed off in a couple of months.
Precisely. They just have like a call center of 200 people telemarketing the shit out of the product so they can sort of show a good turnover and then bump up their stock prices. And I think that's not a startup. That's like some kind of scheme.
Pyramid scheme.
It's not about the product or burning for it or anything. But maybe it's a startup to some people inside of it. I mean,
if their goal was to kind of, do the evaluation, sell it. I mean, if you're building this company to exit, then probably they probably move in a startup way.
Yeah, I mean, when I started thinking about this talk, I of course had to go back in time and read up and stuff. And for everyone who hasn't read it, there's a fantastic writer, I guess I would say, called Zawinski, who worked at Netscape in 1994. You can go online, find his diary entries from September, October, November 1994, when they were working on shipping the first beta of Netscape 1. Those were the days. But the thing that occurred to me is he was working his ass off. It sort of feels like the sort of mythological Ur startup or something. There were probably many ones before it. But still, he was working his ass off on the Netscape browser.
Yeah.
And that in itself was sort of a side thing or a required thing for Netscape. So I was thinking maybe Netscape itself wanted to sell web servers.
Oh yeah.
You need a client to use it. And we think of this startup, we think of the people burning for the browser. But maybe the company itself wasn't burning for that in the same way. It was something it needed.
It was the marketing department that said, we need some way of getting users to buy our servers.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of weird as well.
Yeah. Yes, but I never thought about it.
Maybe a part of a company can be a startup or work like a startup.
Yeah.
And they got all the PR, so that's all we think of. We think of the Netscape browser. And it got this huge valuation as well. I don't know if they ever made any money or sold any.
Oh, Mark made some money.
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
But he kind of stresses also that a big part of it all was just luck and just happening to be in the right place.
Oh yeah. And working all those hours, it just happened. It's funny, if you go and read the blog now, there's actually a warning at the top of the page. Hello, people from the future. If you read this and someone linked it as some sort of ideal startup story, don't believe them. Go somewhere else. They're trying to get you to ruin your life.
But I think that's the thing, because I think he worked like that for the same reasons in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's easy to sort of not realize when you're not doing it for yourself anymore, and you're just working like shitload of hours for not enough pay. And it's hard. I think it's really, really hard to sort of detect when sort of it shifts from being your passion to being your job. Because I really don't like to look at startups as a job. I don't think you can look at it as a job if you're going to succeed early on, at least. I mean, there's no way, because it isn't a realistic environment. I mean, it's no sane. You can't sort of add up the hours and this seems fair. This seems like a good idea, because it isn't. I mean, maybe you're lucky and you get all the way, and then it could be worth it, absolutely. But you can't see it like a job in that sense. That's why I think it, because you need to have that passion, because otherwise you wouldn't put in those hours.
You can't probably drive the product in the speed it needs to be driven like forward if you just kind of I'll just clock in, clock out, and we'll see what happens afterwards.
No. You're gonna die during the journey.
So it sounds like if you do it 9 to 5, it's probably not a startup.
No. I would say no, actually. Probably.
I mean, I would argue that if you still have the passion, maybe there's something else happening around in your life that you can't put in more than 8 hours. But if you're
obviously you're not passionate enough, then.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll give that up. I'll win another battle.
So it sounds like we're back to like speed and intensity and stuff like that being sort of big checkboxes for a startup.
Yeah. So like if you believe in your product, that is not, I want to exit to something else.
Yeah.
Like I'm creating something that's going to help people in some way or make their lives easier or whatever. And you're like super passionate about it. That's when you can put in the hours and you want to put in the hours and you just want to get it out there to everyone. That will kind of drive you. So, I mean, the symptoms would be probably long hours, passion, blah, blah. That would be the boxes probably.
So does this mean then that a startup has to be a very time-limited thing?
In some essence, yes. I at least think so. I think there's multiple definitions. That's the problem.
It sounds kind of funny if you say after 10 years, we're a startup. You should have started something then, I guess.
Exactly. It should have started by now, right?
Or you really had a lot of VC money to burn through, like 10 years.
We're really, really busy burning money.
It's a hard job, but I mean, someone's going to do it.
Yeah, they keep paying us. I don't know what's wrong with them. But then a startup has to be pretty time limited because people will burn out, I guess.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So definitely.
Or have no other life.
And have no other life.
But I mean, it's. I think that's also just to. It's sort of me repeating myself, but it's harder to burn out doing something you genuinely love. But that's the difference. Thinking you love something or genuinely actually loving to do something. Because if you do that, it doesn't feel like job. You don't get sort of the psychological effects of burning out because you love every day of the thing you're doing. But I mean, and at some point, like you said, I think that sort of stops. It becomes more of a business and it becomes more of a job, and then you run the risk of actually burning out because you're doing a lot of stuff that isn't related to the thing you love. Because take me as a coder, like probably at some point then I'm not coding.
What are you trying to say?
And for me at least, I think for now, I'm not going to be doing the things I love anymore if I'm not actually writing the code. So then I would be at risk of burning out if I still put in the hours and sort of just doing the paces, getting up too early, going to bed too late, all the time, like all weekdays.
So if you somehow in some mythological world manage to realize that you're approaching this limit, we will soon be turning the corner from burning passion to just burning down.
Yeah.
Is that the time to quit, or is it the time to start changing the company into something else in a startup? Start making a profit.
Yeah, I think so, because like I believe there's a time limit, because for me it's sort of the sprint till you actually start making money, because that's the validation of your sort of idea, your passion, to see if other people feel the same way and you actually sort of hit the nail on the head and this actually is working. If it isn't, you should maybe find some other passion, because you can try to make it work and you can pivot it a couple of times and maybe it works, of course, but at some point you're going to either make money or burn out trying to make money, I think.
And if you start making money, it's time to start actively changing so that people don't burn out.
Yeah, because then you probably will need to sort of hire people and get some other people to do some of the work.
Yeah, and then that's when you get to the point where like all these big companies, like I mentioned before, okay, we're going to do something, and if we're going to manage to do it, we have to act like a startup, but still like no one knows what that actually means. But like burn out all these people, so just make them ship their product.
And move fast and die. You know?
yeah. Or die trying.
And I think sort of that's the problem when larger companies do that, because they actually, we need to burn some people. That's the startup way, and it's just isn't working. If you don't find a team that actually love doing that project, because then maybe it's possible, of course. Like look at Google. I think they probably have done it a couple of times through like their sort of your own time, 20% your own time things like that spawned Gmail and stuff like that. And I mean, those people probably loved those things in the beginning, and that must have been still projects, but still feeling like startups, because
So any project can be a startup, a mental startup, really.
Yeah, but as long as it's not like just a random requirement for a new feature that comes from somewhere up above, and you have to just put in like, of course you're going to put in 18 hours a day. That seems fair, because you're two guys doing a project that should be 20. But if like Google, it came from the sort of founders of the project from the start, then it's sort of the same culture, I would guess.
I think as long as it's a dream that you're aspiring to and not reality, then it's a startup.
Yeah. So basically, the big like famed projects within Apple, for example, they have, by the sound of it, and by the way we've talked about it, I think they've acted like startups inside a bigger company, because people have been really passionate about building the phone or the computer or.
Yeah, but I mean it kind of, the passion needs to be there. It's requirement. So if there is like someone who comes up with an idea and super passionate about, and it sounds like a sound idea that we can build something around, then you let that person and find other people who can kind of get behind this passion and make them do this. So like Gmail in this example, or whatever else. So that's what I think the big companies are trying to find, but they kind of most of the time doing it the wrong way around. It's like, hey, this committee decided we should do this. Go find, here's like some money, go find passion for it and please ship it, or we'll like, show red numbers. Probably.
Find people to work 90 hours.
Yeah, you have passion for this now.
Exactly. Like you give them a paper. You will have passion for this, and you will have passion for
and
this.
here's a guide to generate more passion.
Well, there's a difference there. I think you can have passion for coding. You can be a happy code monkey. You can be coding anything, and you're happy. But the difference is when you're happy, you have a vision. You're like trying to get to there, and that's when it's interesting.
Yeah. So as a happy coder, I've always done like a bunch of small projects that never led anywhere. But I still got a lot out of it because my whole point was like, I want to try this, I want to try that. Yeah. But the passion for a product or whatever, a feature within a big product. Oh my God, I'm so passionate about playback in Spotify. Like I have history from Spotify, so that's why I mention them a lot. Like if you can find those people, then you can drive them, and you can still have happy coders. There's like really cool Nintendo.
Who's trying to communicate?
Who wants to play video games? Who's passionate about video games? No.
Well, that's the funny thing. We mentioned video games because they kind of more startup-y for me than any other companies because they have this product they want to push. They know they have a deadline. And it's like everyone needs to get behind. Is that my heart? I have cholesterol
try and calm
problems.
down just a little bit, please.
Okay, you like video games, forget it.
No, but I mean, they kind of they have this product, they have a vision where this product is supposed to be, and they can find people who can like get behind this passion. I think it's the people over there. Something. Stop doing things.
Stop being so creative over there. Oh, sorry.
Sorry about
Next
that.
time I'll get that mushroom. But sure. Video game industry. They seem to be
to some extent. I mean, I've heard the worst things about like.
Yeah, but I mean, why do people endure those worst things? Everyone can probably just quit. It's like I think that they kind of here is a game we're gonna do. We're gonna have to put in 90 hours a week. Is that even physically possible, by the way?
90 hours a week.
Sure. It's like, I know. I do it every week. No, but I mean, so those people who you get in, like the level designers and coders, whatever, they kind of, I'm so passionate about this game. Hopefully,
not
so
all of them
I can
actually. I've talked to at least some of them that has quit because of, it's like, no way I'm not taking this shit anymore because I'm forced to work, like, I have to complete these many levels every week, and like they don't give a shit about how good they get or whatever. So it sort of becomes like just creating reports more or less, but in like a graphic visualization that is a level, because you have to is the level big enough? We need it for this big. Is it this? Yes, now it is. So it sort of becomes this sort of industry just in creating more and more levels. And I mean, those projects, not all of the old projects in like EA and stuff, it's like that, but there are a lot of game projects that are, I think, because take like every game that's based on some hyped movie at the time, they just need to get it out the door in like a month, and that's it. It's not like someone burning for this video game inside EA.
And like E.T. would be the perfect example. You buried it.
Landfill material. Feel the passion. Yeah, but if you turn it from the other side and try to be, I don't know, negative about it, I mean, should anyone have to put up with those conditions?
I mean, if it's not on their own terms, then they shouldn't. You talked about, like, you're not passionate about this, but you're expected to do 90 hours a week, then you should probably quit.
I think it's easy to be abused if you're like passionate about something, and someone, it's easy to get this guy to just run around like a hamster in a cage.
But is he abused if he is that passionate about it? I mean,
as long as he's happy. But
he could be happy because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I mean, what should you demand or get back out of it to go into a startup?
Equity? No, don't do that.
No, that's wrong.
No, but I mean, so the coolest stories of startups that kind of made it and disrupted whatever the world or changed the world is like, a couple of people got together, kind of someone maybe, or most of them had the same ideas, like, oh my God, I had this idea as well, let's do it, like, let's fucking do this thing. And they went ahead and just kind of, the passion of it, like, we have this idea. We're going to do this whatever it takes, even if we pivot 7 times getting there. But it doesn't matter. I mean, that's why everyone is kind of recommending, find someone who completes you in a way. If you're a technical person, maybe you find someone who's more of a salesperson if this is something that you're going to sell, and you both find a passion for this product, and this is how you kind of move it and create a business out of it.
Yeah, because you don't have to invent it to be passionate about it. Like for me, example, I'm not a founder of the startup I work at, and I didn't think I was going to be that passionate about it in the beginning. It was more like, it's a really good fit with those people. I like those guys. So that was sort of my initial right sort of read of the situation. And of course I can change jobs because why not? It's Sweden. It's not that risky to change jobs here. And so I just went for it. And it was, I think, maybe, 6 months down the line that I really found my passion for what we were doing. Because like when I heard it, how fun can it be? Pharma products like data analytics for pharma industry and stuff like that. But I don't know. I found it in like the problems we were facing was like really complex and sort of that just got me going. And I mean, I just would go into work because I wanted to just hack at that at the algorithms because it's
that's
so
kind
fun.
of going back to the person you mentioned, the happy code monkey. Just find something that's interesting problems to solve within this big thing, and that can be enough passion to kind of
absolutely
to do 90 hours. I'm still against the 90 hours.
But we all see it's like a kind of like a Hollywood movie. We see the happy guys, but we never see the dead unicorns along the way, I guess.
No, that's when you go read Jamie Zawinski. He says, "Don't do this. Don't throw away your only youth." Like, oh no, we're shipping. We're doomed. We're doomed. We're doomed. But I think maybe the definition is that a startup is a special case for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't, you shouldn't do 90 hours. You shouldn't be this manically obsessed with this one thing.
Yeah, so like the more we talk about it, I'm kind of leaning more against, okay, so what is a startup? But the definition, at least for myself, is like, okay, couple of people find like a common ground for passion and they really want to do something around this and not just exit the company, but like really create this product or service or whatever. And they're like, oh my God, this would be so cool. So they thrive on that. Like, we will create this, it will help people, their lives will be better, whatever. So I think that's a startup for me now after whatever 40 minutes of talking about
I have
startups.
to agree. I think that's kind of sums up my sort of feeling I have for startup. What's a startup is for me. How about you?
I'm with you guys.
We solved the startup problem. Now you all know. We will be doing consultant work.
We should put together a company doing this.
We have chemistry. We should do this. We will now embark on a
90-hour week schedule.
No, I was thinking more of like speaking at all the conferences for the next 3 years about the thing we came up with this one evening. The speaker track. Oh yes, we can disrupt that.
No, but I can tell you, like from my personal experience, I worked for Spotify for a couple of years, and then I changed to football. Like I quit Spotify, started for Football Addicts, and people still ask me, like, "Are you fucking stupid?" Like because whatever. And the thing I can't actually describe in words for people is like when I met this co-founder of this company, who is not in this room, the specific, one of them at least here. Hey, Eric. And like I heard him talk about I knew what it was, I knew the product, I had used it before, but I heard the passion in this thing. It's like, oh my God. And it wasn't the bullshit Silicon Valley kind of passion, we're going to exit this, or we're going to disrupt the whole football industry and stuff like. No, we're going to make a cool product, and we're going to make the fans' voice be heard a little bit. We're not going to disrupt the whole football. It's like, they're super passionate, and I love the industry they're in, like the football industry and everything. Like, oh, this is a great fit for me. Like, I kind of have that passion right from the start. So answer to everyone's question why I quit is that. Don't ask me that question anymore.
Chemistry again.
And the passion, and you can tell when we're talking to other whatever customers or companies, and we talk about our passion, you can tell it's like they're kind of super pumped about that. It's like, oh my God, you're so passionate. You could be talking about whatever, I'll buy it from you, because you seem so passionate about it. So passion number one, common ground.
But I think that's sort of how you detect real passion also, because real passion is contagious. Like it's hard to fake that, I think. Really,
and if you do fake it, you're good. You're
really good.
I'll work for you.
Then you're like a good salesman, I would say.
You're scary.
Scary, yeah.
Well, I think also like if you meet the people with, that have the right chemistry, like say Wozniak and Jobs, you have like one who is like really coder happy and one who is like a really good seller. You get this like the four guys that match up to each other, and like you don't have that skill, but the other guy has it.
Yeah, you sort of build on top of each other. Yeah.
They completed each other.
Thank you.
Ooh, hearts.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared. It feels like we have some kind of consensus here.
Yeah.
Could someone please disagree about that?
Yeah, I can disagree with a lot of stuff.
Bring it.
No, like I said, I would still like to go back to the whole like where number one, I feel that the whole startup-y things that are happening in this city is like super awesome because we haven't had that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, a bunch of small, cool products and companies are popping around. But what I'm afraid of, like having been to a couple of these events, like is starting to kind of pivot into and shift into like, okay, so how do we build companies, unicorns that we sell? That bad part of the whole startup thing is like, stop doing that, people.
Like cynical
create
startups.
cool products and cool services, and you will get cool coders to join you because.
Yeah, and that's sort of the Zawinski thing as well. Like someone exploiting your passion to make the exit that they're interested in.
Yeah.
Riding the unicorn.
Oh yeah. And watch out for the unicorn riders. That's
I mean,
the
I
lesson.
can almost guarantee you that you will be a failed startup if that is your goal. Like, I'm going to create a company that I'm going to sell for a bunch of millions and buy a Porsche.
Yeah, because
I still want a Porsche. So if you have a company that's giving out Porsches, I'll join. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah, but that's sort of circling back to real passion, because if that's your goal, then your passion is money, I guess. Or fame or whatever, and it's not actually doing the product. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's like I say, it's really too bad that it has sort of become this hype thing with startups. That especially like, of course, we're in a tech bubble because people have that mentality. Like, yeah, we're gonna create a unicorn. That's now what are we gonna do? That's the wrong order. And I think you see a lot of like news, also students coming out in the world, and the initial goal shouldn't be to create a unicorn, then maybe, or maybe that should be sort of instead finding what you're really passionate about, because I think that doesn't just apply. I mean, of course, it's a necessity in a startup, but even if you work at a regular job, I mean, finding passion, I think, should be like one primary objective for every person, because why would you spend the majority of your waking time at something you're not passionate about?
Yeah. Exactly, and it's so awesome that you bring this up. I've discussed this with a bunch of people many times, like, oh, this person is not doing a good job. Like, they're hired to do something, they're not doing a good job, they're a bad person or whatever. I mean, there could be a bunch of different things to that. Maybe they don't have the skill set to do the job. That's more your fault as a owner of the company and not theirs. But I always feel like, okay, if you have someone who's supposed to have the skill set to do this work and you feel they're not doing a good job, then it's probably they haven't found their passion or they haven't found the passion for the thing, and you should probably part ways, because it's probably better for you as a company owner and them to find their own passion and kind of, you know, having a purpose in life. And if they can't find that purpose with you, you should let them go. And it's kind of sounds harsh, but I feel it's probably the best for everyone. And, you know, that person can probably find a passion in something else and be kick-ass at it, and they will never hear that they're doing a bad job, because it will come by itself naturally.
Definitely, and I think that's partly a symptom, like people staying in sort of, for them, the wrong position. It's partly a symptom of like past generations, where like coming out of war times in Europe and stuff like that, and it was really important to have like a safe position in a big company, and then you should be happy because you would be able to provide for your family and your kids. And when you're not in that situation anymore, you have actually the luxury of chasing the dream you have, or actually trying out a few different jobs until you find what you're really happy about. And I think, I mean, I know I've been schooled by my parents that I should find a good paying job, and like that should be my goal. And I didn't listen really, but
Who listens to their parents? Yes, yeah.
Precisely. So they did an awesome job of actually getting me to not be one of those guys. But I think that's sort of one of the problems, that people sort of stay in an unfulfilling job, I think, at least.
Yeah, but there's also like different positions in life. Or like when you're young, when you're like you just left school and you're pretty free to do whatever you want. You can live off macaronis for a couple of months. It doesn't cost much. Then you have a wife and you have kids, and then you need to bring in the cash to get things rolling, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's like it's not either or really. I think it's maybe you shouldn't, like, if you just had a couple of kids and your wife isn't working anymore at the moment, or at the reduced hours, maybe you shouldn't go start a new company in the middle of that. That's like high risk. I mean, there's a sort of a place and a time for everything, and but I mean, you can still sort of work your way towards, maybe if you're not fulfilled where you are. It's not that bad to start like looking around. Maybe you're not in the right spot. Maybe you should be doing something else. I mean, it takes a while to sort of just figure out what you want to do. And
like the worst possible case, and that's not bad at all, is that you find out that I'm in the right place right now. maybe something else isn't for me right now. Maybe in a few years.
Maybe you just sort of, I don't know, bored with the food you eat or something. I mean, it can be a symptom of something else, of course.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, I don't know. I think I at least take some time. I try to take some time, at least once every couple of months, to really think through am I happy?
The choices you've made.
Yeah, sort of. Did I make the right choices? Am I where I want to be, or do I want to do something else? And I think, because when you're sort of in school, you get that sort of forced upon you, because you have to sort of choose the courses you take, or you have to choose the projects you work on, and more at least than when you're working. Because when you're working, you can just continue on in a straight line and nothing ever happens, and you're going to still be doing a good job, probably. You don't hate it. Like, yeah, you get fika every Friday, and yeah, that's something to look forward to. But, I mean, if you really sort of look to, or am I really happy where I am? I mean, just take like a day off or whatever. Don't try to do it in the evenings in front of the television, like with the Eurovision on or something. Like really go somewhere. I mean, just go down, take a walk at the beach, or just take a bike ride somewhere, or go to a cafe and just sit and think about it for a bit. Because I think people don't do that much, actually. Just think about themselves. Yeah.
But it's so hard to do. It takes a lot of effort.
But it's the same, like, it's the same with software development. The retrospective is always like the thing that you skip.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but when you do it, you love doing it.
Oh, yeah,
it's exactly. Like, this shit is awesome. I actually know why it didn't work.
Yeah, so it's the same all the way.
Yeah, so who's up for starting a company? Yeah, but I mean, you can start a company if you're young as well. There are a bunch of examples of people who found what they want to do, like when they're 15, and kind of driving it forward probably still, which is like kick-ass for them, at least to have found that early. That's really awesome.
Yeah, but are you saying it can be too late to do it as well?
Nah, I hope not. I still haven't started a company, so I would love to have done it, and it's probably going to fail miserably. But I can at least check.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
It's the journey. That's what we said, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I've started or tried to start something directly out of school, and I didn't go into any like management or entrepreneur schools or anything like that. We just thought, it would be sick to start a company. Yeah. Let's do it. And we started sort of, we thought like, let's do it slowly. So we did it on weekends when we still had our jobs. And then you kind of realize, this was fine for like half a year because we didn't know shit, so we couldn't do much at the companies we worked. Then suddenly we actually did know shit and got a lot of responsibility. And it's hard to then find the time. And I think that you can still do it, like in continue or at the same time as you work somewhere else, of course. But it's hard to sort of, I think people sort of lost their passion actually, because they found the passion at the place they worked instead. So again, it's a lot about passion, but I think it was a healthy time still, just trying to start it. Even if it's, I mean, looking back at it, I still don't feel really like, did we actually try to start a company, or did we just meet and code? I mean, I don't know if there is a difference, or
if it matters.
Or if it matters, yeah. But it was a great learning experience in any way.
Things just happen.
Things just happen, yeah.
And I guess the passion was there in one way or another. So
yeah,
the startup-like experience. If anything.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's if you find passion somewhere else, it's hard to split the focus. So.
Oh yeah. I think we're about running out of time. Any final comments you want to add?
Drop some wisdom. I don't know. You guys go first. I'll try to figure something out.
I think I already said it. I mean, I think.
Beware of the unicorn riders.
Oh yeah.
Follow your passions.
Either hate them or become one.
Yeah,
I think.
Remember to write home and don't take candy from strangers. Anything else? Wear a scarf. Yeah. That's about it.
Don't forget your towel.
But I think also what you were talking about, like here at the end, like you didn't really know what you were doing. You were just meeting up and doing stuff, and maybe that's like. You think that you need to have like this big vision to be able to do something, but in reality you just need to meet up with guys you like and do something.
Yeah, that's another thing about like people. Oh, my idea is bad. Like, come on, man. There aren't any like unicorn people who come up. They just say one word, this idea, and everyone's like, oh my god, that's 100% gonna make it be successful.
Well, like create GIFs.
Yeah, you can. It's so weird.
The difference between successful or people that do stuff and people that don't do stuff is that the people that do stuff have been doing lots of stuff that didn't work, and then they learned from that.
Exactly, and idea is only 1%, execution is 99%.
Yeah.
So, and you can take what we do at Football Addicts. There was an idea already. It's like there was something out there. We just decided we're going to do that just better. We're going to fulfill our own needs. Yeah. And maybe some other people will like it as well, and work great for us.
Yeah,
it works great for us.
Right back to the point about not needing to disrupt sports.
Yeah, stop disrupting shit. Come on.
Yeah.
And actually, don't be afraid of failure, like you said, because I can.
Oh, you will fail. So
you will fail. Yeah, and I tried now to remember if I actually regret any failures, but I really don't. I mean, I
mean, failure is bad only if you don't learn anything from it.
Yeah, or if it sort of was forced upon you, like if you did a project that wasn't yours to start with. I think
you usually regret the things.
Harder, I think.
Sorry again. You usually regret the things that you didn't do.
Oh yeah. That's much worse actually.
Yeah, when you try, you at least knew or will know what happened.
Yeah,
strange temporal. Yeah. So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.